Hi everyone, welcome on back to the channel and welcome to my Nioh 3 updated ninja build guide. So we're going to touch base on a total weapon overview and core mechanics of the build, some stat breakdowns, some martial art skills, total gear build and weapon build, and some beginner combos to optimise your damage with this setup. So without further ado guys, let's get into the guide. My weapon of choice for this current ninja build are the Tonfa weapons. This is ultimately a mid-level build that focuses on quick key damage and overwhelming combos. So let's just briefly touch base with just how good the Tonfas actually are. So the playstyle and strengths of the Tonfas are fast, aggressive and key focused. We've got rapid multi-hit combos, low key costs on attacks, and it also has the highest key damage among the ninja weapons. They absolutely obliterate the enemy key, and key management is basically the core fundamental of Nioh combat. They deal exceptionally high key damage per second, multi-hit strings that shred enemy key bars, free grapples, long stagger windows, and safe high damage punish phases. The core identity of the Tonfas are key control and constant pressure. The core strengths of the build you should lean on are fast attacks, high key damage, easy staggers on humans, and strong status build up. Use those to control the fight instead of trading hits. So let's touch base on the stats that I recommend for the build. We just head on over to the shrine. Go on to my stats. So I've got 30 constitution, 16 heart, and then I've pumped a fair few stat points into individual skills like intellect and magic, strength, stamina and skill, just to basically fulfill the gear requirements or weapon requirements that I'm currently wearing. For me, constitution is obviously the primary stat for the Tonfas. It greatly affects your life, and then it also ups the damage on the weapons themselves. So I've pumped 30 points in. As you can see, I'm currently level 53, so it's almost a mid-game build stat setup. I've also gone for 16 heart, which affects my key and key recovery speed. Personally, I find this to be quite a good number. In basically most of my encounters with enemies and bosses, I don't really tend to run out of much stamina, and I've got plenty of key to play around with when I'm dodging and evading. I've also gone for 10 points into skill. This affects your arts proficiency power and ninjutsu power, so I thought I'd just pump a few more extra points into that. And then I believe once I get to the end game, I'll be pumping more into constitution and heart. And that's pretty much my stat breakdown. If you guys have got any different opinions or questions, obviously leave a comment down in the comment section below. And also guys, don't forget, if you do incorrectly allocate your stats somewhere that you don't want them to, you can obviously press the reset button and you can play around with them as seen fit. But a general consensus of what you should do is potentially put most of your points into constitution just to up your damage and your life, because obviously this is the primary stat for the Tonfas. Put around 10 to 15 points into heart so you can have plenty of key and key recovery speed, and then the rest of the stats just kind of work towards gear recommendation levels. So moving on to the gear recommendations and my current setup. So if we go onto my equipment tab, we can have a look at what I'm rocking. So I've got the Royal Tonfas at the moment. It's a purple 592 damage Tonfa at level 55. Obviously my familiarity isn't maxed out, so make sure that yours is, as you can obviously receive more damage from your weapons by doing so. I've got backstab damage at plus 4.5%, which is really handy for the ninja style, as obviously your damage is multiplied when you're behind certain enemies and bosses. It also has a imbue paralysis stat and a elemental damage living artifact stat of 3.8%, so pretty solid weapon. My general consensus with mid-game level entry builds is basically choose the weapons, your gear and your talismans, and just grab whichever one has the highest stats for now, as we're obviously not min-maxing our builds just yet. So get whatever stat you like and whatever levels you like, and just focus on the highest levels that you can potentially grab for now. I've obviously got the Crimson General's bow, which I don't use too much, but it's a level 60 bow. I got this from the Reiju secret boss. If you don't know how to get to this area, I've obviously got a YouTube video on the channel that explains that in depth, so you can head on over and check that out. I've got the Shinobi faceplate, 71 base defense, backstab damage of plus 2%, and some damage taken in midair minus 1.3%. So it's not a fantastic faceplate, but it's got some general decent base defensive stats. I will obviously have to change that, to be honest, because my encumbrance level is over 70%. So I'm just going to rock the Shinobi hood for now. So this one has key recovery speed of plus 2.7%, so it's not too bad. I've got the Shinobi Cuirass, same sort of thing really. I've got backstab damage plus 4%, which is really decent, and some Spirit Force charge, and a good amount of base defense stats there too. The Eager Jonin Gauntlets, level 45. I've got some key consumption, and guard key recovery speed. And also, what's good about this set, the Head of the Eager Ninja. If you've got all of these bonus pieces, you can get dodge key consumption, ninjutsu damage, faster movement, untouched ninjutsu, ninja tool arts damage. You see what I'm getting at. It's a pretty good set. So overall, if you do have all these pieces for this set, I would definitely recommend this for a mid-level entry build. Elixirs, Sloth Talisman, Summoning Seal, and Steel Talisman, and I've also got my Reiju Soul Core. So general consensus, just use whatever high-level Tonfas or ninja-style weapons that you prefer, and try and go for the Shinobi gear or the Eager Jonin gear, as this does have a set requirement bonus, which can obviously optimize your damage too. So there you go guys, that's my gear setup for my level 53 build. So on to the next segment of the video, let's have a look at the skill trees and martial arts skills. So, click on the Tonfas. I'll basically give you a brief description of what I find to be really helpful with this build. So, if we look at this first skill, Focus Strike, we slowly build up power, then release it in a single devastating blow. Now for me, this is one of the absolute fundamental combos of this weapon. It's very simple. You just hold down the triangle and you can basically dish out a hell of a lot of damage, especially with the ninja style itself. If you can get behind an enemy and use this move, it can dish out insane amounts of damage. So I'd definitely recommend this skill. Obviously, I quite like Heavenly Chain as well. This is another fundamental. You basically follow up a strong attack with a series of Tonfa strikes. You can just simply press the square button after a strong attack and deliver a bunch of damage that way too. So these two are kind of my main fundamental go-to combos. You can also try out Mountain Breaker as well. I find that to be quite useful. I don't use it as much, but that's also a pretty good skill. If we move on here to Demon Dance, so this is quite a controversial one because it does change your mist or your dodge behaviour. You won't get as much of a dodge window as such, but after you do perform Demon Dance, you can use Pulverize, and I really like this combo. You basically press the square multiple times after Demon Dance, and you follow up with tons more attacks, basically, which ultimately optimizes your DPS. So those two skills are definitely ones to look out for on the Tonfa tree. I also like Shove, just for smaller mobs and kind of, smaller type enemies. You can just push them back and stagger them. And then if we move on to Impenetrability, this is also a great skill. You basically guard just before an incoming hit to parry the attack and knock the attacker off balance. So it's a good defensive tool to have as a ninja, because obviously we don't have access to parries and our block deficiency isn't, it's not too great. So Impenetrability is definitely a good skill. And also Dragon Slayer as well for that follow-up attack too. So that's basically where I've got to on the tree. Obviously I'm at a mid-level stage, so I haven't got the Crimson Lotus Fire yet. I should actually get Crimson Lotus. This is a very good skill. It's a good follow-up thrust skill for the Tonfa. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. All of the skills around here are obviously good skills too. Mountain Breaker Lightning, that's a good skill to have if you do like the Mountain Breaker skill. And Devastation 2, once we get that, I'll definitely be rocking that as well. So let's move on to the Soul Core section and Guardian Spirits. So I'll briefly go over that too. So my Guardian Spirit at the moment is the Cat, basically the first Guardian Spirit that you get. Really like this one because it gives you ninjutsu key damage at plus 7.3%. It gives you a ton of key recovery speed and quick attack break, as well as some melee attack key consumption and final blow grapple damage. I find this one to be a really good base Guardian Spirit just for the start of the game, and it's pretty much carried me throughout the first area of the game as well. To be honest, Enko I'm not really a fan of. Obviously you get more Guardian Spirit skill consumption, you got some damage over time and some melee damage versus scorched enemies, so if you do like him, go ahead. But I would personally recommend just sticking with this one for now until we get into higher levels of the game. And then moving on to our Soul Cores, Omnio Box. I'm currently rocking the Reiju Soulcore, just because it's got really high base stats, and to be honest, the lightning damage that this thing does dish out is pretty nice. This can also help with Thundershot talismans and basically paralysis too, so that's a really solid Soulcore. I'd also recommend the Magatsu Warrior and the Yagyo Soldier. They also do pretty decent damage as well. And if we look at our yin position, I like the Sloth Talisman and the Steel Talisman. Steel Talisman really, for me, it's because Ninja style itself, we don't really have much defense. I like, popping this on mid-combo, and I'm not going to take as much damage. And the Sloth Talisman is basically for completely and utterly slowing enemies down. It's quite funny, to be honest. I've just been mucking around with Sloth Talisman for a little bit. But other recommendations, if we go further on down, I do quite like the Ryomen Sukuna Soulcore, and I'm also quite a fan of the Yokai one. We can have a look at that. Yokai Soulcore, just to increase your attack. But obviously this is all down to personal preference, but for me, the Sloth Talisman and Steel Talisman have served me quite well as the Reiju Soulcore. So let's move on to a beginner combo for you guys if you're new to the Tonfas or you just like to have a beginner style combo. So my favourite is double strong attack into Heavenly Chain, Mist into Demon Dance combo, and this will practically stagger any normal enemy and it will deal out a lot of key damage as well. So again, double strong attack into Heavenly Chain, Mist, and then Demon Dance as well. So that's a pretty good combo. Obviously I like to try and get behind my enemies, so if you can dish off a Mist combo and then do a staggered charge combo as well, that will dish out some decent damage. But general consensus, we just go into Heavenly Chain, Mist, Demon Dance combo, and then we can simply rotate back into that combo all over again. So there you go guys, that is a nice beginner combo to work with. So that pretty much wraps up the consensus of my ninja style Tonfa builds. Obviously all of these items and gear recommendations, levels and stats are going to change as the game progresses. But hopefully for you guys who are at a 40 to 50 sort of level, this build can come in handy. I hope you enjoyed the video everybody. If you'd like to see more Nioh free content in the future, please subscribe to the channel. Anyway guys, take care. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now.